Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana Live. I hope you are all very well this evening. I'm feeling well myself, I have to say. It's a very warm and sunny day here in the UK, and I've been out flying drones, enjoying myself, and driving with the roof down and letting my hair. Oh, hang on, where did my hair go? I'm old. But yes, I've been enjoying it. Now, did anybody spot anything different about the intro? It is. It's a little bit different this evening. We've had it re-recorded with some change of the lyrics and that type of thing. And I like the ending bit of the Geeksvana. There you go. That's the first and only time you'll ever hear me sing on a live stream. Well, depending if we have another drinking stream, I suppose. So tonight, I'm going to be joined by co-host Stephen Sutton, who is joining us after his travels in Africa. He's going to give us an update on that, which is very exciting. We have 3 new drones coming out, people. 3 new drones. How exciting is that? I'm very excited. We're going to talk about them this evening, and we're even going to give you a bonus new drone. A bonus one. So 4 new drones we're going to talk about this evening, which I am very, very excited about, has to be said. I've obviously been drinking caffeinated drinks this evening. You can tell. Either that I've been drinking too much already. We're also going to bring you a channel update, as some of you may be keeping up with the community tab, some of you may not. So it's interesting to let you know what's happening behind the scenes here. A few changes that are happening. The break that I've been taking, despite the fact that I'm still on YouTube, I have actually been taking a break from making recorded content very recently. So that's an explanation of that, and also the changes that are coming up, which I'm very excited about. Just very quickly, hi to Elsmeghead in the chat. Hi to Tamara Gabriel as well. Thank you very much, Tamara, for becoming a channel member. Tamara is actually streaming tomorrow at 9 p.m. on her channel, so make sure you check that out. Smeghead, if you could please get a link to Tamara's channel and stick it in there. I didn't put it in one of my automated ones, unfortunately. Johnny DRC, good to see you. Airless Mean, hi. Thanks for joining us before you have to go to work. I know you're doing the night shift this evening, bless you. Jim Beauchart, hi, good to see you, sir. And everybody, the Flyby guys, that's our co-host Stephen. The Snapshot Drones, hi, good to see you as well. Lynn Smith, AZ Drone Dude, everybody really. Johnny Mac 26, John Coopy's in the chat. Get out, John. Don't know what you're doing here. Get out. No one. We shouldn't have let you in just because we let you in the Discord server.
You're so cruel to him.
Me? Oh, he deserves it. Trust me. I let him in the Discord channel, and he's been starting trouble in the Discord this afternoon, picking on someone's username. Yeah, he's terrible. Fish Diaries, hi. Clocked, hi. Michael Blades, Matt Cundiff, good to see you as well. Great to see everybody. So yes, there's a link, as Elsmeg has very kindly put in there, to Tamara's channel. She's live streaming tomorrow night at 9 p.m, which is we'll give you some more details about later as well. But do head over there and hit that remind button, frankly. So yes, shall I bring Stephen in before I talk myself into a mess? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Your audio's switched on and everything.
It is switched on. It is.
Yes.
It's all good tonight. It's everything is good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm feeling a little bit better this evening because it's very warm in this studio. Obviously, we've got a lot of lights, and I'm always adding more lights and that type of thing. But we actually were able to have the fan on at the moment, so that I can stay a little bit cooler, which is nice, which I do appreciate. Some new filters. Audio filters have been added to the OBS studio, which makes it sound pretty good actually, and we've put it on your end as well, haven't we, so that you can have a window open and we're not sat here all night.
Yeah, I have the window open, I've got the trams and the motorbikes going past, and you can't hear a damn thing.
No, indeed, exactly. Just very quickly before we start, we're going to do this a couple of times this evening because it makes me laugh when this happens. But I want to thank our one of our sponsors, Drone Masterclass, and we've got some new little graphics for this. And here we have Andrew Hamilton. I think,
yeah,
a little bit to your left. There he is. There he is. Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Good boy.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
So if you want to book your A2C of C or GVC now, there is a link in the description to go and check that out. You're going to see that a few times tonight because I just love it when he comes on and folds his arms and then gets a little pat on the head from Stephen, which is hilarious, frankly.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Andrew Hamilton, former CAA drone lead, and now the face and lead of Drone Masterclass, and he's been getting good boys on the Geeksvana live stream, which is I'm sure that's what he wanted his entire career to get to, frankly. So before we get into the new drones, we're going to talk to Stephen very, very briefly, because Stephen, you've been away, haven't you?
Yes, I've been on my travels again.
Flying drones.
I just got back. I got back on Tuesday. Sorry, my television came on, and Apple TV's just done something here.
Do you
be okay?
Do you have a ghost?
Okay. I think so. Yeah, I just got back on Tuesday. And some of you have probably seen my video where I was carrying the Mini 2 there, and I got it back successfully as well. And many of you were asking if I was going to be flying my drone and capturing some footage there, and unfortunately, I did not have the ability to fly too much there because there's not really any drone laws, so I wasn't able to find where I should or I should not be flying. Okay. But where I was staying and where I was working, there was a lot of low-flying aircraft. So a lot of, and I didn't. And I have some footage of that actually. So I had helicopters flying at 50 meters above the hotel.
Wow!
And I was staying right on the beach. I was staying
50 meters above your hotel.
50 meters above the hotel. Wow. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. But I was just thinking,
were they landing at the hotel, or they were just passing by, or?
Well, George Clooney was supposed to be coming in, but he didn't quite make it or something. But no, I think there was some traffic going,
regular traffic type.
I just decided to just be sensible and not fly.
Oh, that's a shame. But of course you did do some flying, of course, which if anybody's been watching the Flyby Guys and Geeksvana social media, it probably wouldn't take a million miles, a million hours to work out exactly what you were doing, because there was an awful lot of coverage of it, and in fact we got to watch it live on YouTube as well. So that's something.
Yeah. There was a link that was going around, and you were able to watch it. It was
very exciting. It was very exciting. So how did you find the difference between working in Dubai with drones and Togo being an African state, etc.? And of course, this trip was so much quicker. You were just there to do one job, whereas Dubai, you were there for a longer period. How did you find that sort of quick turnaround period of having to get the drones into the country, get the job done, and get out again? Was that a lot more stressful?
Very, and not really because it was one job, but it's just because of the environment itself, and the way of working there is a lot different. Things don't get, if you want something done, it will get done, but it will get done when it gets done. So there's no real rush in a sense, even though there is a rush, but there's no real rush. And that was quite stressful in itself. And,
I can imagine.
It was, but it all added to the experience, all added to the operational work, and it was very vital. So I think that I came out of it a much better, a much stronger, a much more efficient, and a much more capable project manager. Actually, I came out of it. So. Still very tired, but it was certainly an experience,
No, indeed, exactly, and no, I can only imagine how tired you must feel, and you do seem sort of when you came into the Zoom this evening, and when we sort of started, you do seem sort of 5%, not quite back to your normal, but it was just so frenetic, wasn't it, for that period of time? There was something happening the entire time, and of course, when you have a less regulated system that you're working within, there's more that can go wrong, because of course there's always other manned aircraft getting involved and that type of thing, and there's there is that X factor, isn't there, in that kind of environment, which is an extra stress, frankly, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it is, but it's just about getting the job done, and being able to deliver and being a drone service provider, being able to do it's a good boy. Yeah, it's a good boy. Yeah, it's a good boy.
I can resist. Sorry.
It is about delivering, and that is, and I have an incredible team. My team are just amazing. They're so reliable. They're so capable. And that's, it's awesome to be the flyby guys in that sense, because we get the job done,
and there's of course that sense now you're back, and it went superbly, as of course it always does with the flyby guys, but you have that sense of accomplishment as well, that now you can look forward to the next project and the next stress, as it were, but knowing that it's another one under the belt, because it's still a new drone technology, etc. It's still still a evolving system, so it's exciting. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Shall we talk about some new drones? Yes.
Drone-tastic.
Yes, drone tasms. Drone-asms. Drone-tasm. There we go. We're going to have some drone-tasms and talk about some new drones. So we've got drones from DJI, Parrot, Hubsan, Sony to talk about this evening. We'll start off with DJI, because this is an interesting one. Do you know, I still say DJI. In a lot of my early videos as well, I've tried to train myself to say DJI. Because of course, I speak the Queen's English, and I'm a Surrey boy, so I have a decent, what I would say is a decently clear accent. But I still say DJI.
I'm Scottish.
Yeah, well, that's your excuse for a lot of things, isn't it? So anyway, let me just move this live chat below there. So we have the DJI Mini SE coming out, which is exciting to have a new drone, but it won't necessarily excite a lot of the existing hobby, of course, because it is something which we perhaps will feel we've seen before. I have to say, when this was first sent to me, I thought it was a bit of a joke. I thought it might have been a late April Fool's or something. But I can also see the huge value that a cheaper drone that will let people get into the hobby easier could perhaps add. Frankly, I think there is a value there, isn't there?
I think that this is just another way to get rid of stock. It's as simple as that. It's just stock
I think there's
clearance.
also something going on with the chips and that type of thing, because it's only apparently only going to have the 2.4 gigahertz transmission on there rather than dual band. So it means they can use a different chip in the controller, etc. So I think it might be to do with chips as well. And yeah, so but again, we've got the orange blade tips, which we're used to seeing with the 2. This S letter is coming up again, and this time it's the SE. It almost feels like DJI are starting to put sort of car type insignias on there, doesn't it? Because we're sort of used to the Range Rover SE and the Vogue and the S and this type of thing. And again, it's going to be extremely light, as we're expecting. It is, however, going to be, bring this one up here. It is actually only going to be 2.7K, 12 megapixel. So again, this is a Mini 1 in not even Mini 2 clothing, but it's a Mini 1 in Mini 2 high heels, because it's got the props.
Yes, it's got the props. And doesn't it have the Mini 2 remote?
It does, yes. In fact, we have.
Yes.
This is the pack it's going to come with. So the fact that they've got to put the gimbal cover there on the top left as an item that's included, I think shows there's not going to be too much in there. But there is obviously some spare props. There is a battery and the cables, and that's pretty much it. But again, if this comes at the rumored £299 that we're expecting it to come in at, I think that's not a bad deal. Personally, I think
it's a steal. It is a steal,
to get you in the air reliably. Although it's going to be Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure. The 2.4 and it's not going to be switching. And
2.4 and Wi-Fi, I can see this causing problems in terms of having accidents.
Yes.
Fly this over water. Fly this between. If you have a lot of trees in front of you, you could potentially have some issues, I would say. So I think just from my own personal view on the transmission,
yes,
I would keep this away from water.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with you wholeheartedly there. But it is also, of course, the issue that in urban areas it isn't going to have the that necessarily the stick as far as the transmission is concerned either. So you can need to watch for a lot of other Wi-Fi sources interfering with it. But I think it's, I can see the niche they're going for. I can see the market they're going for. It's interesting that we're now talking about the third iteration of the Mini, and we've certainly got a DJI Mini 3 around the corner. Certainly, I would say before Christmas coming as well, which is going to have a obstacle avoidance and that type of thing on there for certain. So it's going to be interesting, and it's again, I suppose it's something that at that level, you look at other drones that are in the area. I suppose it's kind of like buying a base Golf or a base Polo. You're going to get the Volkswagen quality, or like the little BMW Mini 1 Series things they've got. You're going to get that quality of the brand, and so perhaps it would stop you buying another brand and get into that. And there's of course a lot of jokes out there, and original Dobo's video, etc., his little outro, which was very funny, basically describing it as a drug dealer. DJI is the drug dealer trying to force the drone on people and say, come on, just it's just a little drone, it's just a little drone. So there is that. It is a gateway drone, but frankly, so yeah,
and I don't mind that. Is again, is this going to promote, in a sense, bad behavior because it's so cheap that it allows anyone to then have a drone? So it will be interesting to see how, will we have more, dodgy videos, people not respecting the rules, having it cheap is one thing, but how much that helps the drone community itself, it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, indeed, exactly. And it is something which I think is going to have a niche area. Whenever we look at these types of drones before the Mini 1 itself came out, we wouldn't necessarily have expected DJI to come out with a very good sub 250, or anybody to come out with a very good sub 250 drone. So I think they're always surprising us at the different market niches they're able to find and carve out. And obviously they've identified this through their market research, that there are the people there ready to purchase. And it's interesting. But again, it just shows you that just we're almost getting to the point, like with the Apple products and the iterations and that type of thing, where it's not necessarily going to be waiting for the next drone anymore. We're not going to be waiting for the Mini 3 or 4 or Mavic 3 and that type of thing. It's actually now you can just buy the drone that has the spec and that will do the job you need, and just be satisfied with that drone and crack on. Basically, it won't necessarily matter. I'm going to try and hop off the iteration train, and not buy the same iterations of new iterations of the same drone that I already have, unless it does a job for me that the last one won't, basically.
But I think that this, my last video there, where you see me, taking the drone to, taking the Mini to Togo, slamming it into the suitcase, is something that, nobody would really have ever thought about, because you have the carry case, you want to carry the drone with you, you want to make sure that it's safe and all the rest of it. When really the Mini 2 is so small, it's so hollow. And you can just wrap it up in your clothing. You can just, I had it wrapped up in a jacket, and I had it in there, and it was perfectly safe because the suitcase was firm inside. So I figured that was just the best way, and it is the best way. It is the best way because, traveling to certain countries, you run a risk of having the drone taken off you. But this is the way to do it. This is, I think, the Mini 2 has so much potential. It has, there are so many benefits to having it. It's not the greatest camera. It's not the greatest camera. It isn't the best. But if you're traveling, it's really good. I think I'm actually finding it as one of.
And with this new SE drone, we're also looking at a situation where we will be going from, you know, having £1,200 in the sky to £800 in the sky to £500, and now we'll have £300 in the sky. So you know, you're risking less up there as well. So it is something. It is a great gateway into the hobby, and I hope a lot of people take it. Frankly, it's going to be fantastic.
And that's something that I said. That's something that I said in my video is you know, but I, you know, because I bought that in Dubai and I bought it cheap, and I was taking the risk because I got it quite cheap. It was a risk I was willing to take.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, it's up to you. If you take that risk, if you travel, you put it in your suitcase or whatever. But I mean, that's a risk I took. So exactly. and it did pay off, you know.
Exactly. Will Kirkham has said DJI now competing with the Extreme Flyers Microdrone 4 on price, and he says sorry, I swore I wouldn't mention it, MD4. You know, I think if we say MD4 3 times, I think Vernon appears in the chat. But yeah, well,
don't.
Perhaps not the night for that though, is it? Oh look, that came up again.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
Okay, I'll turn it off this time rather than let it play out. It's because I switched screen, it came back on. Okay, so that's the DJI Mini SE, and I think it is obviously going to have its spot. It's not too exciting. It's not, you know, revolutionary, but I think there are a lot of people that are going to enjoy it, frankly, which is obviously.
Do you know something? But you know something? It still keeps DJI relevant.
It does. It does.
Keeps them relevant.
I think it opens a new marketplace to them. I think people that would consider buying a £200 toy drone might go that bit extra to get the Mini now, because it obviously has a bit of reliability to it. Allegedly.
But if you look at what we're talking about next, if you look at where we're talking about, we are still talking about DJI.
We are, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But again, you know, that is you know what we're here for. That and they are by far the most active, which is why I'm delighted. We've got 3 other brands to talk about, which we'll start next by talking about Parrot. Yes. And Parrot have asked us to save a date, which is the June the 30th at 4 p.m. CEST, and robotics taking flight is their tagline there. So this is an exciting one. It's an interesting one as well. I don't think this is going to be consumer by any stretch of the imagination. It's a shame because I think, you know, there was a little bit of me when I first got this teaser through. I thought, oh, could we possibly be having a 250 gram, a sub 250 gram Parrot and Affy coming? It didn't feel like it would take too much, and they're very, not flimsy, but very simple looking props and things like that. So I didn't think it looked necessarily that sort of commercial looking, if that makes sense. But then you look at their actual their email to the press, and you know, you've got this Parrot, pleasure in the job, puts perfection in the work, Aristotle, which again pretty much sums up that this is going to be something for the commercial side of things. And
yeah, well, I think that when you look at, for example, Valkyrie and stuff like that, you know, they have some, you know, I think that this is where they're going down the line. They're going down the line of that kind of look and design almost, and trying to hit into that market, even though the Valkyrie hasn't really truly hit in Europe or even the West, exactly. but they have some good drones out there, Valkyrie. They have some amazing drones. But this, it looks like Parrot are on this. Look, you know, are they trying to fill that market? Are they trying to get in there?
Yeah,
you know, looking down there, cybersecurity is this. This is something which we haven't discussed. We have never discussed cybersecurity, and we will. This will be an issue.
Yes.
This will be an issue in the future.
That is something we're going to talk about. But I have a very special guest in about 3 weeks' time for that. So yes, we're very excited about that. But it's talking about a new communication standard, open to developers, full open source app, autonomous photogrammetry, and new cybersecurity. So yes, we are. I think, you know, is this going to be a mapping drone? Is this going to be a simple mapping drone that you can throw up in the air and, you know, get some, you know, a decent mapping footage back very, very easily and quickly? Who knows? It could be something like that. I mean, obviously we've had the Parrot and Affy USA, and this release will actually be exactly a year since that release. So it's going to be interesting. It doesn't look as rugged or anything else like that. But yeah, It's going to be interesting, and they're having a PR company run the event for them, which is the link they sent out for everybody to save a date and join the seminar rather than sort of just a general live stream, etc. I'm not sure if they're going to live stream it as well on the Parrot YouTube channel.
Well, it would be nice if it was live stream, wouldn't it?
It would.
But like the last event that was on.
Yeah, exactly. The NAFI USA one. Yeah. Oh yes. What could possibly go wrong with a live stream?
Possibly go wrong.
Yes, which we will come on and we will come to talk to in a moment, because it is a shame from the point of view that I think that the Parrot Inafi, in my opinion, was almost a victim of circumstance and timing, where it is, in my opinion, it is a good drone. I don't have mine anymore, but it is a good drone, and it's a lot of fun to fly. It's very sort of twitchy in the air and that type of thing. I always used to call it the little sports car, 2-seater sports car of the sky, because it was very, very responsive. And you know, I did enjoy owning it. The transmission wasn't fantastic in built-up areas, so that was probably the main reason why I moved on from it. But I think that if it hadn't come at a time where Parrot were quite vulnerable and were already in a financial situation where they were reassessing their direction, and perhaps if it was released 6 months earlier, then I think it could have actually been quite a successful one, like the Bebop 2 was for them, and actually perhaps moved it on, if that makes sense, you know, and actually had further iterations of it, because actually I think a sub 250 gram Anafi would be a really big seller, frankly. I think it could be something that would do very, very well.
But at the moment, you know, we know that, you know, I mean, so far what we're seeing, and of course that can change in the next couple of weeks, of course, but you know, no one can touch DJI at the moment. No one can really touch them. Do you think though? Do you think I have a thought process, because obviously, as you know, being registered press, etc., I get to speak to a lot of these companies on embargoes and things. I get a lot of conversations of different manufacturers that we can't ever speak about. You know, probably about 70% of the conversations I have at the moment we can't speak about on air, which is really frustrating. and you know how big some of those conversations are, so it's really really frustrating. But anyway, the time will come for those things to come on air, and I wonder if actually they're waiting for things like UTM and things like, you know, that side of things to sort itself out, and the regulation of the skies to be more consistent before we start seeing other large brands, like of course Sony are coming into it now as well. Of course.
You know, because again, once regulations are flat and once UTM's in place, something else like that, could we start seeing the flying mobile phone selfie cameras and this type of thing? And I just wonder if we'll start to see more innovation, because it's certainly still a growing sector here in the UK. The amount of people registering and buying new drones is still going up. It's absolutely incredible, the amount of numbers which are being added, and of course the Mini 2 is directly responsible for that. But I think we will see other larger brands come into it that we don't even think of as drone manufacturers right now.
Yeah, of course, and it's, you know, I mean, in terms of UTM and all the rest of it, I mean, I still think that, you know, I think that we can see it happening. It's, you know, we know that all those providers are out there. There's a lot of investment coming in, and you know, all the countries and all the cities are really, really talking to them now. We just really need them to start to move. We need, they actually have to start to implement, because they haven't even started testing. Yeah, they've done a couple of projects. They've done a couple of, you know, things, and there's more golf. You know, there's more U-Space things happening this year here in Europe and stuff, especially here in Finland, but still, you know, nothing is completely solid. And until we have that solid base of, this is where it's going to go, this is where the traffic is, this is where you're going to be flying, this is how you'll be, I don't want to say monitored, but this is how we will see you, you know, because because you are airspace, you know. So
Stephen's watching you.
But yeah, it is interesting, and I just need to see things happening more.
Indeed,
I hate all this talk, and this is happening.
It's becoming one of those things, isn't it? It's almost like the e-hang market of the manned taxi urban air mobility, because obviously they're not they're no longer technically a drone, and it's a bit like that market. There's a lot of talk, there's a lot of, and now we're starting to see some of the fruit from that, although some of it's,
of course,
it's debatable whether how valuable that fruit is, but we are starting to see some fruit with that, and we're kind of where we were a while ago with that, aren't we, where there's a lot of talk about U-Space and UTM and everything else like that, and as you say, we now need to just get it forward and move it on, frankly. So yes, so that's Parrot. So June the 30th. So we're excited about that one, especially because of course we do cover a lot of commercial drones here on Geeksvana, and with our wonderful sponsors, we do obviously we feature the GVC and A2 CFC courses quite a lot. Are you ready? Is your hand ready?
Ready. I'm ready.
We've got to do it. You got to do it. Got it. Who's a good boy?
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
So Drone Masterclass, there's a link in the description. They're getting a lot more shout outs than they normally do, which shows some good marketing from them, frankly. Okay, so let's move on to the next new drone. I'm being kind by going to the website and not showing the excerpt of the live stream, the certain excerpt of a live stream that we have, which was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of marketing. You obviously it was accidental, obviously, but it was marketing genius because it got so much attention, and I thought it was different. I thought it was great. I thought it was his face and the fact that they zoomed in on it, and then there was this GIF going around the community, and I thought there's no such thing as bad press. There's no such thing as although I would argue that a crash drone isn't the best in the world, but
it did hover for a long time. I was actually saying to myself when I was watching it, I was saying, land it. Okay, it's great. It's great they're showing how that the battery's actually got a decent length of flight on there. That's good, but land the thing, land it now. And it perhaps was just the battery draining out and things shutting off, and just it did have that sort of giving up type of hover down to it, didn't it, really? So I don't think it necessarily says anything about the drone itself. I'm not a massive fan of Hubsan drones, so I will say that first of all. However, I haven't flown that many because I'm not that a massive fan, but I am more than open to this blowing the DJI Mini 2 out of the water. I will say that to everybody now. We will have one to play with, and I am more than up for this drone outperforming any little drone out there, frankly. That would be fantastic. One of the first things that I noticed about this drone as well, which I thought was interesting, is that it's an internal memory storage job, rather than so you sort of a bit like a mobile phone, you sort of buy the version that you want with the size of memory in there. That's interesting in itself, isn't it? Because I know the SD card system is licensed, so I know that does put the cost up a little bit. So whether that was a factor, or perhaps they just want to go in a different direction, and they want to have onboard storage rather than having it via a card.
Yeah, and of course, if you can sync that to the cloud, of course, that would also be interesting as well. It would, it would say, I mean, if I could sync my images straight to Adobe Cloud, that would be, I mean, that would save me so much time.
Absolutely.
Where I would, it would go straight into Lightroom, and I could just go in there and just straightly edit it. It would just be fantastic. I mean, that's, I would love, I can see that happening in the future. If this is something that they could do, then yeah, it would definitely be a winner for sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you would. If the next time you purchase a small drone, you would consider this drone. Obviously, we don't know it yet, so we haven't had the reviews, etc. But you would consider this drone. And 2, if you just would not consider it whatsoever for whatever that personal reason might be. Be interested. Yeah, one and a 2 there. Be interesting. Now, of course, it is being marketed as the world's first drone to have obstacle avoidance under 250 grams. So perhaps they wanted to get it out before the Mini 3. They perhaps wouldn't be able to claim that. CMOS 48 megapixel sensor, 1080p 30 frames a second video transmission. So that in itself is quite an interesting claim. Obviously 249, maximum flight time 40 minutes. That's interesting. And we'll again, a lot of these things we're going to have to wait and see. The 10 kilometer range, okay, fine. They're going to have a decent range. I think that's really where we would have to be. and but three direction obstacle avoidance, that interests me as well, and how well that works. Because we're so used to DJI and Skydio and everybody else like this coming along with their obstacle avoidance and that type of thing. It is possible to put that kind of, obviously it is possible to put that tech in a light drone because they're doing it. But again, I'm just interested to see what the final sort of quality will be. I know the FIMI Mini has been frustrating some people. But again, I am open to it. I don't want to sound too negative on this drone because I am open to it, but I'm not necessarily recommending that, for instance, if the Mini 3 came up, the pre-order page came up, I would be okay. You can probably assume it's going to fly well, etc., being a DJI and that type of thing. With this, I don't know, so I would probably wait for at least 1 or 2 reviews. I think they've already sort of outsold their first pre-order batch stage at the moment anyway, so you might have to wait in any sense anyway. So so in any case, so yeah, so some pretty, it has to be said, some pretty impressive specs for a very, very small drone. And if they do come through, and if they do deliver this drone with a decent amount, let's say 60 to 70% of all these things do exactly as they should, and of course the gimbal and camera is of comparable quality to the competitors, then I think it could do well, and it could justify the price.
Yeah, I think the trailer that was released was almost a month ago, was it?
Yes,
I think it was released. I mean that was impressive, but I think there was a few of us, were kind of saying, "Oh, this looks too good. It looks too good." I don't know, but to go
proof's
from in the pudding.
To go from where Hubsan are now to this drone is impressive. It is possible that they have just pulled their money. They've taken a step back and they've said, if we're going to take this on, we are going to need to just bring out something absolutely fantastic. And if that's the case, great. I am all up for there being competition out there, all up for it. A uncompetitive marketplace is no good for the consumer. And that it is very, very important for that. And it's a good looking little drone as well, I have to say.
Yeah, it's not a bad looking drone. The sensor, the camera itself looks a little bit smaller than the Mini 2. Looks a little bit smaller, but the proof is in when we see it, and then we get our hands on it, and then we get the sample images. That it's very interesting.
Indeed.
And let's see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so difficult because we want to sit here and say it's going to be terrible because it isn't. The other Hubsans, the other experience of those type of drones we've had hasn't been particularly good, and we don't think it's going to be very good. But we're so keen to see something come along and be a real competitor that it would be so excited. I would scream it from the rooftops.
We really want to see it's because I think that once you have. Once you have a good competitor out there, once you have a drone like this that will come out and will make a difference, not the DJI need to step up and say, "Oh, wait a minute, we need to," because every time they do release something, it's always like, "Wow, okay," I mean, you never have a bad DJI drone in a sense, but who knows who. I mean, I just can't wait to see what, because it will be an interesting couple of months coming up, put it that way, next year.
Yes, no, I completely agree with you, and I think we are potentially going to see more sub 250 gram drones coming as well. So, Els Mega, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I really appreciate it. £5 towards your pre-order of the Hubsan Mini Pro. That's very kind of you, sir. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Okay, so we'll move on from the Hubsan. So that is the upcoming DJI, the Parrot, and the Hubsan talked about. Which again, I'm pretty happy the fact that we've had 3 drones already to talk about tonight. Upcoming drones and different marketplaces and different types of clients and that type of thing. I'm excited about that, and I'm also very excited about this bad daddy.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. I think as people that I mean, I'm now starting to fly drones commercially, but of course you are extremely experienced in such. This is exciting us, isn't it?
It is. I would love to get my hands on one of these actually. And it just really reiterates that I need to get myself a Sony S7, you know, because
it's a great excuse to buy an even better Sony camera, isn't it? Frankly,
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and the specs are there's a maximum speed of 55.9 miles per hour, which is maximum angular velocity of 180 degrees, and altitude angle of 55 degrees. Now they have what they call the Sony developed propulsion device and flight control system. That sounds very posh, doesn't it?
Anything that has propulsion in it has to sound good. Come on.
Right. I think we need to have a flux capacitor somewhere in there or something, don't we? Frankly, the Sony developed flux capacitor. Stable in winds up to 44.7 miles per hour. Now that was in a wind tunnel test, so I think, you know, whether that's necessarily a real world test or not, I don't know. Landing gear with open closed legs to avoid appearing into images, so it does have that Inspire-esque open up, which is, I have to say, as an Inspire flyer, there's nothing sexier than that thing taking off and the legs folding up and it disappearing off into the, well, not disappearing off into the sky, but shooting off into the sky.
This is the sexy thing. That having that Sony camera on it,
I know,
is
right?
The sexy
it's
thing.
Awesome,
that
isn't it?
That is it.
Now it has the quick release, or rather, they're calling them detachable propellers for fast, easy replacement and transport. Sony developed stereo cameras and vision sensing processor with original algorithm for real-time 3D spatial awareness. So, do we think that could be something for not extended visual line of sight rather than beyond visual line of sight? This could be, you know, not just a camera maker's drone.
I mean, you know,
camera maker's drone, a filmmaker's drone.
Filmmaker. I think that this is definitely a filmmaker's dream drone in a sense. This is really upping the. You know, if Sony can pull this off, if they can really pull off a drone that has good transmission, has good control, has a good user interface along with the camera on the drone. So because again, Sony lack with the user interface, that's you know, with their cameras. So if we can have a good user interface on the remote to control the camera, I think that this could be
there's actually going to be multi-operator actually, so there will be
it has to be.
There is going to be a dual operation mode for independent control of the aircraft and gimbal camera, which again I think most Inspire flyers will want to see on anything that they would even remotely consider replacing their existing drones with. Now, it is equipped with flexible flight modes, and it has the AirPeak base web app for integration into management of flight plans, flight logs, etc. So they're trying to, again, I suppose they're lucky in a way that they've got the DJI enterprise drones to follow from the point of view that they know what people want, and people are able to say to them, you know, actually I want X, Y, and Z, and they're able to build that into these drones. And I know that they've been working very closely with a lot of camera operators in Japan and America to really fine hone this thing down. Interestingly, the $9,000 USD price tag does not include the gimbal. Well, obviously, it won't include the camera, of course, because you're supposed to put your own camera and glass in there. But it doesn't actually include the gimbal systems, which is a third-party gimbal. Interesting.
That is quite interesting. It certainly doesn't stop me being still very interested, but it will be interesting to see how filmmakers or even content creators, and even Tamara has just said there in the chat, she says definitely the dream. So I mean, you know, when you have content creators such as that looking at, you know, drones like this, I mean, this, you know, I mean, this can just change. You know, I'm not sure what she's using for her own equipment, but I mean, you know, maybe she's using Sony cameras. You can maybe say that, Tamara, and you know, in the chat if you're using Sony cameras. But you know, this would be the perfect
Yes.
drone to just add on to what you already have, and just give, it's just a natural bit of evolution from using groundwork to going into the air and still having the same look.
Exactly. Now the model name is the S1, so it's the Air Peak S1, which again gives us hope that the Air Peak is the actual project name. So hopefully we're going to see other drones, not just on the enterprise side of things, coming from Sony in the future as well. It'd be nice to see them enter into the consumer market. Very much so. Again, competition's a good thing, but this is a brave first step. It's a brave drone. It's a brave market sector to take on, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what those early tests and once we start getting this into the hands of the public, actually how that's going to be. It's going to be an interesting one. Maximum flight time of 22 minutes without a payload, and it can still maintain a flight for 12 minutes when fitted with a heavy payload like the A7S3 and FE 24mm f1.4 GM lens. Now the hot swappable battery allows for power supply exchange without powering down the aircraft for minimal downtime. So that's quite good as well.
So basically you need to plan your shots very well. You need to plan them extremely well.
Yes.
In order to get that shot, because if you're only having...
Yeah, exactly. Because I actually had a chat with somebody on this on the commercial side of things, and they were wondering what the transmission would be like, whether it would be 1080p, because then perhaps it could be used with live shows and live streaming and that type of thing. And I think perhaps the 22 minutes might unload and therefore it's going to be 12 minutes with the full package on there. I'm not sure that's going to necessarily give those kind of functionality. But as you say, if you plan the shots correctly, you could end up with some good footage.
Oh yeah, and most creators out there, they do plan. I mean, all the top people out there, you know yourself. I do it. If you're going for something, you try to plan it to minimize the amount of power.
Exactly.
And knowing the wind and all the rest of it, the weather and whatnot. So it's yeah. So
you have to account for the whatnot.
Yes, indeed you do.
Bless you. Yes. So okay. So that those are the 4 new drones that we're talking about this week. Really exciting to be able to talk about so many new things happening in the hobby, and actual new products coming out. I know we've got that one of them at least is an iteration, but it's still exciting to see progress happening, because there was a period that we had no releases of anything really. So it's good. It's good to see this much activity happening. Oh, do we have a fanfare going off in your background?
It's the police, so obviously.
Are you being arrested live on Geeksvana?
I always fly within the rules. Fly within the rules.
We do have a former police officer here who is able to have a word. Andrew Hamilton of Drone Masterclass. So be careful.
He's good. Nice.
Be careful. Speaking of sponsors, our other channel sponsor, Moonrock Insurance. There is a link in the description if you need some commercial drone insurance. Very excited to say that on the 24th we're going to be joined by Simon, who is Simon Ritterband, who is the managing director of Moonrock, and we're going to be talking about insurance and that side of things. Also his history as well in drones, which is very interesting. But they are actually launching a hobbyist product very soon, so we're going to be having details of that, including some fantastic offers and that type of thing. So yes, that's on the 24th. So I'm really am looking forward to that. But thank you, Moonrock and Drone Masterclass, for being sponsors of the channel. I really do appreciate it. So next up is a channel update. What's happening? Why has Sean got so many lights on his wall? No, that isn't one of the updates. Sorry. I'm just seeing how many I can fit on there before the wall falls down. So now we've been producing content here at Geeksvana for about 2 years on a fairly regular basis. I've kind of gone through peaks and troughs of the amount that I produce in terms of recorded content. I've gone through periods where I've had things coming out almost every day, things coming out weekly. I was actually a period there very early on where it was almost sort of 10, 11 days between my videos, etc., and that type of thing. So for all sorts of reasons. I've sort of undulated as I go along in the type of things that we cover and don't cover, and sort of steered towards being more news and then back towards being how-to and drone rules and that type of thing. So as we're now very fortunate, and thank you everybody that's watching and that watches this in the follow-up, your support, you subscribing to the channel. By the way, if you're new, hit subscribe and hit the like button too, everybody. Your support means the world to me, and I really appreciate it. We're heading towards the 10K mark, so I wanted to take a step back from the recorded content side of things and have a little look at the type of thing that we're making and start to really build some more structure to it, and of course make those videos a little bit more engaging, frankly, but also just, you know, vary the type of content that we're putting out and having a structure to it, so it won't always just be a month of drone rule videos or a month of Mini 2 videos. You know, there's going to be things happening all month on the recorded side of things of every different type of thing. We're also going to be having some regular news bites happening. So we've been trialing the weekly drone news, or the weekly drone and tech news, which is going to change format again slightly. Emily's going to be joining me on the live shows very soon instead of doing that particular show ongoing. But what we're going to do, and I'm interested in your feedback on this, Stephen, because I haven't told you much about this, is we're going to be going live a few times during the week at random times of day. It's not going to necessarily be prime time or anything else like that, but when news stories are actually happening. So for instance, when the Mini SE came out, and you know, the the Parrot drone announcement and that type of thing, and we're going to have mini live streams, as I say, probably 3 or 4 times a week, only a few minutes long, no big long intros, and those will give us the breaking news. And the idea of that is that those will then be brought together at the end of the week on a Sunday and presented as the weekly news. So the idea there is that those will be clipped together, and then the ones from the previous week will go unlisted, and it will just have that one sort of news source for that week. So the idea is that it will be you know, sort of a little bit more innovative in terms of being able to bring things to people in a quick format, but also as they happen more as well, which I think would be quite good. Yeah, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's always nice to, you know, kind of, let's say, refresh things a little bit, because there's so much content out there anyway, and it's good that people can see things a little bit differently rather than get, you know, if you fear of getting stuck into the, you know, the old slog and things don't change. I always think change is good. Change is never a bad thing.
Yes,
it's always a good thing. So yeah, good. And you know,
yeah. I'm excited about it. You know, it's giving me a chance to sort of step back a little bit and refocus on our core subjects of news, drone rules, etc. Introducing a little bit more how-to content, and we've also got a mini docu-series coming as well, which is going to explain a bit more about the history of drones and that type of thing, and a little bit more there as well. And also some more interviews. We've sort of gone away from the interview side of things, which I'm what's caught your eye?
Andy Keys to the super chat.
Okay, Andy Keys, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, although I haven't read the message yet. Here's the last instalment to the kidnappers for the release of Stephen in Togo this week. Great show as usual, Sir Sean. Yes, well, did you have key personal insurance? And I mean for wherever you travel. I'm not casting aspersions on any particular.
Yeah. We have to have insurance, but you know, when we go to you know, countries like this, I always insist that we have drivers. We, you know, everywhere we go, we always have security and whatnot, you know, just in case, because we work at all hours of the day and the night. So I mean, you have to be safe and stuff, you know. So
yes,
but yeah, so yeah, you know, this is a reality, and you know.
But thank you, Andy, for donating towards the kidnapper release fund. There, we'll have it, because actually you've got even more exciting places that you could be planning on going to soon. So, i.e., his insurance company are going where he's going. Where next? Are you just sort of starting like Dubai, one of the most glamorous locations in the world, and just sort of trying to find your way into the most dangerous spots in the world now to work?
This is not new for me anyway, because in one of my past jobs I was doing that anyway. So I mean, all these places I'm used to. So that's why it was kind of easy for me to work there, even though it's challenging. It was easy for me because I knew what to expect. So, but of course, I've never been doing this with drones. So, but it gave me the edge. Gave me a massive edge, actually, because I think one of the reasons why it was successful is because of my experience in that region. So, you know.
Yes, exactly. Whiskey Jack says 10K giveaway a broken Zino Mini.
I still would. I still say it, and I think that that was a great marketing, although it was accidental. I think it was a perfect marketing
They
that they
should
had.
sign that. They should sign that particular drone
I'd buy it.
Yeah, and auction it off on eBay or something for charity. So.
Have it sitting and have it. I mean, it should be sitting on. You know, it would be great if it was sitting on yours or Ken Heron's. Those, it's. I think that's a little star. You know, absolutely. You know.
No, exactly. But so yes, and we're expecting that content to start rolling out week commencing the 21st. So it means that I've taken 2 or 3 weeks off the recorded side. We still obviously had the live shows. In fact, we've had more live shows than normal. But yeah, so that'll be rolling out from the week commencing the 21st. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a different kind of format and a different kind of working structure for the channel. And there's going to be a lot of content coming at you guys. So I hope you're ready for that. And I think it's going to serve the different audiences that we have, because of course we have a fantastic global audience. We've got everyone from the US and obviously from the UK. I was going to say the wider EU, but now it's the EU. Of course, we're no longer part of it. Australia, Canada, etc., which I really do appreciate. And a lot of our videos are actually aimed at specific areas, so and specific regulatory markets. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We're going to give it a go for about 3 months and see what happens. So it'll be interesting. So what have you got coming up on the Flyby Guides? I know you've just come back and you had your release out recently on the traveling with your drone. Have you got any plans?
Got some plans. I should hopefully be out of quarantine by tomorrow.
Oh, of course, you're in quarantine.
I'm still in quarantine, so I should be out of quarantine by. I've got one more test tomorrow, so I should get my test results, and then I'm free. So I'll be able to go out. And in fact, it's been a wonderfully hot week this week in Finland and here in Helsinki, and I think as soon as I get out of quarantine, it's going to start raining, of course. So,
of course,
but you know. But yeah, I've got some videos planned. It's coming up to summer here as well, so. But not much time for holidays, but I'll be taking some time, and yeah, I've got some videos planned. So I'm coming up to the 1K mark in my channel, so
exciting
as well.
Yes,
so
I know
you're
10K. Yes, I know. Yeah, no, indeed. Yeah. It's been hard fought. It's been hard fought. So I'm looking forward to hitting that particular milestone. This is something I enjoy doing. It's obviously a side gig, but it is something I enjoy doing. Yes, a Top Flight, they do sell the Flyby Guide t-shirts that you can see on Stephen right now. There is a link in the description to Stephen's socials, and there should be the website there, and there's a merch section, because it has something on the back of there as well, doesn't it?
I don't have the pilot one, but the pilot one is on.
You could hear me building to it, couldn't you?
Yes, yeah. you could. Yeah. So, but we have caps and stuff like that, and we also have tote bags as well, which I think is really cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice. Yes.
Before I do forget, actually, I wanted to say again that we do have. I think I've just pressed the wrong button there. Let me just press. Back onto this screen. There we go. There it is, Sean. We do have Tamara Gabriel. There is a link in the chat, which Elsmegad will pop in there in a moment for me, to Tamara's live stream tomorrow, which is at 9 o'clock, the same time as our stream this evening. And she's going to be covering a live Q&A and talking about shooting and editing B-roll, which is an exciting one. I'll be watching because there's certainly things I want to learn about that side of things. So it's going to be. I'm really.
You can always learn new techniques and new, even if there's things that you already know, if you can learn 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever more new things, it's always wonderful. It's always great to have that.
Which if you tune in, you will find out just how special shooting and editing actually is.
Okay.
It's a very special version of it. Honest.
Okay.
Honest.
You are on mute. Elsmeg heads. and travel with Rosie are saying that your mic is muted. I can hear you. And Stevie. Okay. Hi everyone.
Okay, there we go.
Welcome
right,
to
sorry about
Geeksvana.
that. Sorry about that. Yeah, hi, welcome to Geeksvana. Sean, hurry up and come back. See, it's always the way you have these confident co-hosts on, but then you throw them in the deep end. Sean, come back. Which is always the way. But yeah, no, thank you for that. But yes, yeah, the title needs to be edited, as my Bull Creative says. That's very good.
But she should keep that because that's actually quite good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah,
I like that.
It should become a thing.
Tamara, keep it there. Keep it.
I love the way you say
good.
tomorrow. I love the way you say tomorrow. It's fantastic. We should clip that for her. Right, excellent. Okay, well, that's basically it for tonight's show. So we've talked about four new drones coming out, which is so exciting. We've got an update, and we're very pleased to see this man back safely from his travels in Africa, flying drones in his secrets agent double life persona, and a bit of a channel update for you as well. So as I say, I'm really looking forward to this new content. I'm really looking forward to pushing towards the 10K mark with you all, and a big shout out to all of our channel members as well. I thank you very, very much for your direct support of the channel. We also now have a Discord, which I will pop in the chat again in a moment, which I've been enjoying. Actually, I've been enjoying having that direct way of speaking to people. People can direct message me on there. There's an Ask Geeksvana section. I've already been asked what color underwear I wear and what my favorite Justin Bieber song is. Really sort of relevant. Sort of.
Is this John Coopy?
No, it wasn't John Coopy actually. No, it wasn't. No, it was somebody else that asked those questions. But I did bring Justin Bieber up on one of the previous streams, to be fair, and did confirm that I was a fan. So
yes,
I have to accept that people will bring it up as well. So
I just came into the Discord channel today because when you put it on for us, I was away last week, so I didn't have time to get on. But I'm now there now, and it's nice to see everyone on there. So look forward to chatting with you all as well. So
yes, indeed. I think there might be a conspiracy theory about my mute button starting as well. That I seem to have a mute situation every single show, don't I? It's almost as if I do it on purpose. But there we go. Right, should we get out of here?
Yeah, it's time for bed here.
Let's roll the outro. I'll see you next time. Next week, we should be talking about International Game of Whoop, IGAO, with FPV Skittles, Dan and Ashley joining us. That should be the content next week. I'm just waiting to confirm a couple of things on that. I do want to get it to you soon because the next season of IGAO launches on the 2nd or the 6th of July. So we want to get that happening quickly for you. And Emily will be joining us next week as the co-host, which I'm looking forward to as well, to give Stephen a little bit of a rest. Because he needs a rest not only from Togo but from Sean as well. All right, Stephen. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Bye, Steve.